The opinions expressed on this program are those of the program host and guest and are not necessarily those of this station, management, staff, and sponsors. WSU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. It's time now for the Crown Car Care Show. Call in with questions and comments, 220-9788, 220-WSTU. Now, here's your host.
Hi, everybody. Probably been a long time since you heard me on as a regular radio show host. It all happened because a dear friend of mine, John, over at European Kitchen and Bath, has taken a much-needed break. He's had his show for how long has he had his show?
Well, a couple of years now.
Couple of years,
yeah.
Same time, same channel, same location, and take a breather. I had taken a breather.
Sure.
Everyone takes a breather.
Yeah.
You have to catch your breath.
Yes.
So now you'll have the Crown Car Care Radio Hour. We're going to try to make it better than it's ever been.
Okay.
We've got ideas.
We do.
And I'm going to tell you who's the leader of them. You are. I'm riding right next to you.
Okay. Shotgun.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, the way we'll do this show is we always do. Sometimes we open up with news, right? Sometimes we talk about cars. Sometimes we get callers. In fact, today we're going to have a caller.
Oh, very good.
It's an interesting gentleman. His name is Richard. And some of you may have heard of him. He'll call in hopefully at 5:30, and we'll have some discussions about his travels. So I can't wait.
Sweet.
Yeah, but until then, let's talk about cars.
Okay, let's do it.
So how about some information? Let's talk about Hyundais and Kias.
All right.
So apparently Hyundai and Kia have a problem that's on TikTok that you can steal without a key.
So these are Korean-built cars.
Are you familiar with this?
No, but
somewhat.
Yes.
Well, fill us in, please.
No. You go ahead. Yes.
So I have some data on it, but nothing.
Okay.
So Hyundai and Kia will provide a free software update to keep vehicles from being started without a key. A TikTok video trick that led to car thefts. Kia reached out initially to Optima, Sorento, and Sportage owners for the free update. Hyundai started with the Elantra, Sonata, and Venue owners. This is not a recall. So it doesn't seem to make sense. They're admitting to nothing, but they're providing something.
So it's an optional service that you can enjoy to make sure people can't.
Gives you more peace of mind with your car that, anything can be stolen, but at least they can't do it with a TikTok video.
Isn't that wild?
I don't know how it works. We'll have to investigate it because I have a Kia or Hyundai.
Okay.
The Crown Mobile.
Oh, yeah.
Is a Hyundai Ioniq.
Yeah, it drives rather well.
It gets 54 miles to the gallon.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. It doesn't have much pollution. It's a hybrid, but it's not a full hybrid. You can't charge it. It just recharges, regeneratively for the brakes and then driving down the road. It's not a plug-in, but it's still stellar mileage. 54? I mean, it's unheard of.
Right. So that there's an onboard computer that selects when you're using the battery and when you're not.
And one of the advantages and niceties of this car is, and why it gets probably about 5 or 6 miles per gallon more than comparable like a Prius, is they use a bigger lithium pack. For the battery portion, they overbuilt it slightly, so it gives you a little bit more range and distance. You can drive a couple miles under, no wind conditions at say 45 for about 2 miles.
That's amazing.
Full electricity on the battery. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
In Priuses, you can't do that.
No.
So,
well, that's good to know.
Yeah, because I owned a Prius and I bought this as a replacement. Good car though, no breakages and reliable, honest. It's just good.
Yeah.
It's Korean, whatever. Everything's global now.
Yeah.
Cars are made in Mexico. In fact, Ford makes their new best-selling Maverick. You heard of that pickup truck that they got?
Oh, yeah, the Maverick. Yeah.
Tell me about it, Frank.
Well, it looks a little bit like a downsized Ranger.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because a Maverick was back in the 70s?
Yes.
I learned to drive on a Maverick.
Did you really?
It was bronze or amber in color, 4-door, drum brakes all the way around, did not have power brakes, did not have air conditioning, and didn't have power steering, but it was a wonderful car.
Yeah.
4-door.
Yeah.
Easy peasy, typical 70s type 4-door.
Vinyl floor.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Plaid seats.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Ford Maverick.
Yeah.
So that's this truck now Ford likes to reuse a lot of their
branding names. Sure. Yeah.
It gives them traction.
Yeah.
It works. But it's hugely popular because it's cheap, It's in the mid 20s, and it's a hybrid, so it gets like 35 to 40 miles per gallon, and it's a pickup truck, uniframe. I mean, it's not a full frame or anything, but it's light duty, real light.
Right.
But people love it.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
It looks like a miniature Rivian.
Or that Honda Ridgeline, or that Santa Fe Cruise. They got Santa Fe, or Hyundai's got one now. Pickup truck. I don't know. I'll stick with what I got.
Yeah.
Mine's wrapped. It's got Crown Car Care on it.
Yeah.
Everyone knows when I'm coming,
right?
Or where I'm parked.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great.
So let's talk about some more stuff here.
Yes.
Let's talk about air conditioning. Oh, no. You know what we're going to talk about? Let's talk about some of the technicians that work for me over in Palm City.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Let's give them a shout out. I have a gentleman by the name of Ron, a gentleman by the name of Josh, and a gentleman by the name of Brandon. Wonderful technicians, smart guys, and they do their job well. And each one of them has a skill set that's a little bit different than the others. And they can do things I can't do, and I can do things they can't do, and we all work together to get it done. But they're really good. Like Josh, he can take things apart like there's no tomorrow. Ronnie and Ronnie seems to help everybody, right? And Brandon's he's a good, smart technician that gets the job done efficiently.
That's great.
They're good people.
Yeah,
we like them.
Yeah, and your store is amazing. I've been in your showroom. It's really
it's big.
Oh yeah, but it's clean, it's neat, it's organized. And
that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Simplify the thing.
Yeah.
So it looks nicer by scarcity, or what is it? Minimalism, I guess.
Yes.
Minimalist.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's just it's an older building. Re-landscape the front.
Yeah.
You know who did the landscape? This fabulous landscape company in Palm City.
Yeah.
Guy who owns its name's Chuck. It's Alpha Zeta.
Alpha Zeta.
Just fabulous work. If anyone needs any landscape work done or design work, call them up.
Yeah.
You will not be let down.
Yeah.
Drive by my shop in Palm City.
Chuck is an amazing guy, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. He's great.
Yeah.
But if you go to on 714, which is that main drag where the turnpike entrance is, and then heads out into Martin Gray and Okeechobee.
Yes.
If you head west past the turnpike entrance on 714, my shop's on the right-hand side at 42nd Street. Take a look at my landscape. Take a look at my building.
Just before the traffic light.
Yeah. Tell me if I need to do anything better. I think it looks pretty good, though.
It looks great.
Yeah.
I was very suitably impressed.
Yep.
And you got a really nice big screen TV and a couple of chairs for people to sit down and enjoy.
We're getting more chairs, though. We only got 2 out there for people. That's okay.
Yeah.
But it smells good in there, and it's not buggy. It's just nice.
Right.
Free water. You watch whatever channel you want.
Yeah.
As long as it's not controversial.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Don't irritate everybody. But the shop's big.
It is.
It's about, 7,000 square feet shop.
How many bays do you have in there? Work bays?
Well, there's 9 lifts.
9 lifts.
And there's probably 13 or 14 stalls.
Yeah. Okay.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And they get filled up fast.
Yes.
Yeah. You've been there.
Yeah.
There's always a story to be told.
It's a little bit like watching a conductor conducting an orchestra. You've got all the different moving parts, right?
Yeah. Except I'm not good at every part. That's why we have everybody around us.
That's why you have a staff. That's right. Okay. So
let's talk. We're getting into the hot season, right, Frank?
Yes.
It's going to be hot, and your air conditioner is going to need to work.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Up until 2021, the EPA required car manufacturers to start making the transition to a different refrigerant.
Okay.
That's it. But what is the refrigerant? We've talked about it a couple of weeks ago when I was filling in for John, but I have some updated information. So the new refrigerant, once it's released into the atmosphere, only lasts for 11 days before it's broken down and its harmful effects disappear. It takes 13 years for R-134, the refrigerant it's replacing, to break down. So there is something that can be said for it. Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
No, it's a chloro whatever carbon is. Yeah. So it's one of those ozone carbon. Yucky. Yes. It's a yucky chemical that we don't like.
Right.
Because it's heavy. It's man-made.
And it goes into the upper atmosphere and it breaks down the ozone.
Correct.
Yes.
So it's a good thing. But one of the conundrums or one of the hiccups on this whole thing is it was very expensive to buy the gas. So let's say your system needs to be serviced and you need to get gas. It's about 3 times the price, the gas.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to have a special machine that goes out of its way to leak check, sniff check, chemically analyze the stuff. So if it's like contaminated, you can't suck it out. There's all kinds of protocols that are in place that just make the process longer.
Okay.
By about twice.
Okay.
Just to suck it out, put the new stuff in, just because they want to be careful. And to me, it doesn't make sense, though. If it's only hanging out in the atmosphere 11 days, this thing's good to go. We can run this thing like whatever we want.
Well, I guess they just don't want it, since it's so pricey, they don't want to lose any.
I know.
Yeah.
I know we know what they're doing it for, though. Money.
Oh, okay. Money.
But the thing is I'm saying this is if it's so harmless to the atmosphere, who cares?
Right.
Leave it alone and quit.
Yeah.
Like,
just make it happen. Yeah.
Make it available, make it reasonable, but don't go through the hoops that you have to do to test it and analyze it and all that other mumbo jumbo.
Right.
Because
the support equipment is very costly.
$17,000 my machine costs. $17,000.
Yeah.
One machine. Most shops don't have it. Dealerships have them. They have to.
Yeah.
But most repair shops like me don't have them. Most of your tire stores don't have them.
Right.
So, but it's twice the price. And there is issues with things leaking. They run a little bit higher pressure. The evaporators leak and the condensers leak. Okay. Chryslers, Dodges, and Jeeps, the evaporators leak, and on GMs, the condensers leak.
So this has to do with what, like the O-rings or the connecting?
No, the metal. It actually eats up the metal. Wow. It blows out. You know, chicken or the egg? Is it the new metal and the thin lightness of the aluminum that's built to minimum standards that's blowing out because of poor design, or is it because the gas is under a higher pressure and it maybe has some caustic tendencies to eat up the aluminum on the inside if there's moisture, which is what I think it is. Yeah. It leaks from the inside out. It blows a hole, corrosion. It eats it out. Yeah. Pricey.
Yeah.
We just did a Yukon 2020 Yukon out of warranty, 2020. It was $5,000 to do the evaporator on the dash.
Wow.
$5,000.
Good night.
$5,000.
Yikes.
It's a big chunk.
Yes, it is.
But what are you going to do?
Right.
Can't talk yourself past it. What are you going to do? I mean, what are you going to do? Roll the windows down?
Yeah.
Put the sunroof down or bite the bullet.
Right.
If I don't fix it and you find some hooligan to fix it for $4,500, you're still paying. You still got to pay the piper a pretty chunk of money, whether I do it or you know what I mean.
Sure.
And you got to find someone at the machine, but the whole dashboard had to come out.
Yeah.
That's my update on 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, and it's you said higher pressure too.
And it does blow colder.
It does.
Oh yeah, it blows colder.
Oh, so let me ask you this question. So if you notice while you're driving down the road, could it be the dashboard is because the solar radiation making the dashboard hot? Those dashboards are black, like in my car.
Hot.
They get pretty toasty. You turn on the AC, it's blowing cold, but it takes a while before you feel the cold, right?
Yes.
And
so, you think to change the state of the metal from being real hot to cold, the shrinkage and expansion is maybe what's causing it to leak?
Well, I'm wondering what is going on. Is it possible that you can develop a small leak and you don't feel the cold as much?
It's a gradual loss, and then all of a sudden it goes away.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, because it's an expansion valve type system. They either use a fixed orifice, which was the old days, 2000s, 90s, and 80s.
All right.
Which is a controlled bleed of Freon liquid into the evaporator, which makes it cold to gas, turns into a gas, a controlled leak. It's all it is, an orifice. Or an expansion valve, which is a pinnacle that ditters back and forth because it has a sensor that's on the evaporator that's a wax pellet type thing that has a liquid that moves the pinnacle when it expands and contracts slightly. So just like a thermostat works on a house, how it ditters back and forth, cycling around like say 74 degrees. Well, that's what it does. So instead of controlling the leak, it actually has a doorway that opens and closes, opens and closes, opens and closes.
Interesting.
And they do run on higher pressure, those by design.
So if you So if you've got a fairly new car like mine is,
2021 and up is generally they're on generally, but
okay.
23 you can count every one of them.
okay. So if your car predates that and you got a slow leak in your Freon, or you think you do, what happens? Can you still get the old
Oh
gas?
yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh heck yeah.
Okay.
You're gonna get it. I'll be gone.
Yeah.
I'll be on the 9th hole of the back 9, and they'll still be selling it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no panic
You
on
can't.
a replacement. Oh no.
Yeah. You don't have to do a retrofit. No. Okay.
There's actually people that I've read that retrofit the old into the new. That's a no.
Yeah.
The valves are different, but you could, if there's a will, you can do anything you want.
Right. Throw enough
it's
money.
nefarious.
Yeah.
Yes. But
Okay.
they're good systems. It's just
Okay.
I've seen some premature breakages on some of them. Dodge Challengers, they leak. Jeep Liberties, Denali's and Yukons, the condensers leak.
So
Evaporators leak.
okay.
And it's a big.
Yeah.
Frank, if you saw a dashboard laying on the ground with 100 bolts,
Oof.
you'd cry. If you had to put it back.
Ooh, yeah, right. Taking it apart is easy. Putting it back together is a whole nother.
You got to take pictures.
Yeah,
take pictures and everything.
So John and I spoke earlier today, and he had a question for you, and he wanted to know if somebody is interested in buying a used car.
Yes.
Should they bring it by to visit with somebody like you, preferably you, to examine the vehicle before they pull the trigger to make the purchase? So what are your thoughts?
Yes. And here's what I hate about the situation. Most people, when they bring me the car to look at, they're in love with it already. So it's an emotional.
Yes.
And I feel awkward sometimes telling them it's a pickle, but I have to.
Right. Well, yeah.
It's an awkward moment when the dad's with the mom and the sons, their daughters there getting their car for college, and I tell them, "Ruh-roh, this thing's a no good deal. Run." Yeah. And then you get into the fact of there's a price limit on what you can spend and what you get.
Right.
Remember that. There's limitations with things and people.
Right.
So a $5,000 car isn't going to get you much today, whereas it used to.
So it's a multi-point inspection.
And I do charge it, and I have to charge, because if I don't charge and I just blow it like it's nothing, then there's no value to the customer, and then they don't have any kind of paperwork that says that we actually looked at it. It's just some off cuff.
Well, that's true too.
You have to have it legitimized, especially with today.
Especially, yes, yeah.
With everything,
yeah.
Like all my records are on Carfax. Anytime we do a repair, you have to. It's just this is the way the world is.
Yeah, sure.
Cars leave towns, people move. They need to bring their records with them. It's on Carfax.
So you check the windshield wipers.
Absolutely, check the windshield wipers. We look for oil leaks. We drive it. Lift up the carpet to see if it was a flood car. Right, go in the trunk, peel away some molding and see if it was repainted. Look at the tires, the brakes, the suspension, see if it's burning oil, see how it runs, the drivability, check for exhaust leaks, look at the brake lines, look at the brake fluid, look at the power steering fluid, look at the cabin air filter, check the blower motor, check the operation of the climate control system, look at the safety restraint system. I mean, there's just umpteen different systems you need to look at.
Spark plugs to see if they're
maybe pull
fouled.
one. Yep. Some of them are. It's cost prohibitive to pull them out.
Right.
Some spark plugs. It's it's a.
But it's a good idea to look at one.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
And you can see how it's run, how it's running.
Yeah.
Right. Look at the oil. Look at look how old the oil filter is that's on there. Look up technical service bulletins on all data on some of my databases to see if there's any known conditions and tendencies for the cars.
Yeah.
Certain cars have predispositions to bad behavior. We just talked about it, right? With the air conditioning.
Yes.
Right. With evaporators and stuff like that. Well, other vehicles have, Nissan has issues with their VV transmission. It's junk. It's garbage. It's just, they need to go back to the drawing board. It's a horrible situation. They burn up at 50,000 miles and they leave everybody hanging.
Yikes.
It doesn't have gears. It's like a big snowmobile.
Yeah.
Stainless
steel.
Bands. And the band just goes kill wampus and blows out everything.
Yeesh.
And it's expensive. It's about $3,000-$4,000.
Oh, yeah.
And they're used on Pathfinders and down. Same transmission.
Same one.
It doesn't shift. You don't feel any shift points. It's just, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's really weird.
You don't feel the gears.
You don't feel the gears because it's linear.
Yeah.
So, because it uses an expanding centrifugal force clutch that expands and contracts with the RPMs and torque of the motor and the engine, the input shaft.
That's wild.
So it's on paper good.
Yeah.
Toyota has one. Ford has one. They all have them.
Right.
But there's a but.
Yeah. Oh, is there?
The but.
Yes.
The but is when they grenade, you can't do anything about it except replace it.
Yeah.
And most transmission shops and people don't like to rebuild them. You usually just get a new one.
Yeah.
So that's the story with that. But every car has its tendencies. And wouldn't it be nice to know that if you were looking at a 1953 Nash that had a recall for the lug nuts falling off,
Mm-hmm.
and you bought a barn find that's never been touched since day one, and you're 53 Nash, you're getting ready to drive it, and then you better tighten the lug nuts up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
It's simple fix.
Simple fix.
Yeah.
But cars have bulletins from the manufacturers.
All right.
Yeah.
We got a call. We got a call on our newsmaker line. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, frequent listener and often caller. It's me. Hi, I'm John.
Hey,
Sorry
John.
I'm
hi.
calling so late.
It's all right, buddy. How you doing?
All right, how are you all doing there?
Good. Well, we were just answering your question that you had mentioned off air about the getting an examination of a used car before purchase. And,
Right.
Todd thought it was an excellent question, and he gave, I thought, a pretty cogent answer. So, very good. Yes. So, what other questions do you have?
Well, John, let me tell you this. It's for me, I'm excited to do a radio show because I've taken some time off, but I'm also sad like the parade's over and I feel like the fanfare and the glitter is leaving this room because you're not doing the show. You're taking a little bit of a break and I'm coming back.
Little hiatus,
But
not
it
very
makes me
long.
say, yeah, I know, but it's, I
Well,
guess
you know,
after a couple times
I
it'll be
felt
my
when you
home.
weren't around.
Yes. But I'm thinking about that.
Yeah.
So we miss
Well,
you
thank
and
you.
we'll miss your great show, Leadership in Business, correct?
That's right.
And I've been a frequent guest on yours as well as a frequent
Well,
co-host.
You're a great guest and you're a wonderful radio personality. You're a thinker. You're always putting it out there. So keep up the good work.
Well, you over there at European Kitchen and Bath, I'll tell you, you guys sell toilets that are flushers.
They
Well,
get the
I'm
job
a thinker,
done.
you guys got flushers.
Well, you have a business that's just unbelievable, and boy, is that a difficult thing to go and do and day in and day out. It's almost impossible for me to say.
And as well with you, that's why that was some of the foundations of your show, Leadership in Business. What does it take as a
Well,
small business
We
to
got to
make
lead, brother.
this
We got to
thing?
lead.
They say what? Lead, follow, or get out of the way.
You
Yeah.
get it. You got
Right,
it.
right.
So
So
did you guys discuss that in length? My question that I talked to Frank about earlier?
Yes.
with the used car, and the answer overwhelmingly is, even if it's not me, somebody else should look at it that is somewhat knowledgeable in automotive. You don't have to be a super technician because you generally, when you're looking at a used car, you're doing what? You're going to be looking at the brakes, the tires, oil leaks, how it drives, exhaust leaks, airbag system, air conditioning, climate control, parking brake, spare tire, all the lights. If you and I were together, you and I could both do that.
Yep.
And you could do it with me proficiently, is what I'm getting at.
Well, I was thinking about it when I was talking to Frank earlier, and that out of all the used cars I've bought over the years, and they're really not that many, but I've never bought an extended warranty. And even after, I just remember, I'm sure that car dealers or the companies that, do this aftermarket thing, aren't excited about our response to that. But the bottom line is, my person who was wondering also said that on their car, their new car warranty was only $36,000, and that they don't cover the electrical. And that one really got this person going, well, what's the deal with the electrical? Well, these days on the cars, there's a lot of electric stuff in there, and it's all computer chips and stuff.
That's
right?
correct.
And
That's
a lot of
correct.
it.
That's correct.
Hey, John, we got another caller calling in, buddy. But
All right, listen, I'll let you do that, and maybe it's.
Thank you, John. Yep, I'll add to it.
all
Okay.
right. Thanks for
great.
calling. All right. Bye-bye.
Take care.
All right. And you're on the air. Go ahead, caller. Hello.
This is Michael, ZR1. I'm a ZR1.
Well, hi. How are you? This is Todd over here at the Crown Car Care Radio Hour. I'm over here with Big Frank and me, and we're live in the world headquarters.
Yeah.
Hey, Todd. I just want to thank you for your help with my ZR1. And, just want to comment on your excellent service. And the one thing that I really, really enjoy about you is your humanity. And anyway, I'm out here in Colorado and ran across another fella that's had a few car problems in the past. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. Have you ever heard of him?
What's his name?
Richard, citizen journalist.
Oh, my gosh. He's world famous. Of course I have. Isn't he? Here's what I know about Richard, citizen journalist. He's the gentleman that was hanging out his apartment window over there at the Rose Garden with Biden, wasn't he? Wasn't that his claim to fame?
I believe that's one of them. What's another one that we know of?
He drives all over the country. The only thing I know is he drives all over the country. I'd love to meet him. You don't happen to have him around, do you?
I do. I do.
Really? Hey, Richard, what's going on?
How you doing, Todd?
Your voice is so familiar. I have watched and listened to you for several years now, and you do quite a job, and I just love your stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for following me, and thank you for supporting me. I'm grateful. It's quite the circumstance we find ourselves in here as Americans, and it's a worldwide thing. And it started out for me with, of course, my employer wanted me to wear a mask, and I refused that. And then I found myself at hospitals, finding out they're completely abandoned, basically.
Yes.
I was tossed around by a bunch of security guards, thrown in jail because I was calling the doctors cowards and liars when the whole world was calling them heroes. And so I've been on the cutting edge here about 3 years, on the boots on the ground perspective of what's really going on. And, it's very interesting time to be alive with everything coming out in the truth movement, and, all the things. And I'm just trying to be the boots on the ground citizen journalist to show people what's actually going on at the street level, which is where I think all the intel is now.
Let me ask you this, Richard, a couple comments. One is, obviously, for you to do your job, you have to travel around. Do you drive around in a car?
Yeah. So I've been through, I don't even know. I think I've lost count of cars that I've had here in the past. It's between my car that I drive, and then it's also other people's cars. A guy gave me an FJ Cruiser, which is a really great car, but it just sucks down gasoline. And doing what I do, I don't think people have any idea, but it's quite expensive to just travel and find places to stay and eat. And right now I'm driving. I got a new minivan, so I'm not new, but new to me. And I'm driving that, and I've also had a couple RVs along the way. I had a little Hyundai Elantra that the transmission just exploded, and it was $6,000 to get a new transmission.
What?
So
What?
Yeah.
Too bad you're not around my neck of the woods, Richard. I would have, Richard Citizens always gets the red carpet treatment at Crown Car Care. I'll tell you that now. Heck yeah.
Had I known, I would have been there. Trust me. I was in Atlantic Beach, Florida, and it went into limp mode, 4th gear, and I found a great transmission guy shop, but he said it was $6,000 to get the new one in there with these new however it works. And it wasn't, plus that car had been through the apocalypse for 3 years. So it was in rough shape as it was. It needed a whole lot of love to keep it on the road.
Let me ask you this also. You've traveled the country. You've been into small towns. You've been to big towns. You've been to churches. You've been to supermarkets. You've been to Walmarts. For the most part, is our country full of good people? For the most part.
There's been a lot of, I would call them supernatural shifts. I was in Washington, D.C. when Black Lives Matter was burning down the church. I was there for that. I was at, tons of Trump rally events. I saw a lot of the hatred and the anger And I'll tell you, at the street level, it seems like a lot of people are unplugging from the day-to-day. Most people I talk to these days say, I don't watch the news. I gave that up. And what you're finding on the street level is there's a lot of survival going on. I mean, a lot of people, I think, are really up against it financially, but there's also a lot of abundance going on. But overall, the mood of the people everywhere that I travel to, and believe me, I don't take sides. I talk to people at gas stations. I talk to people inside Walmart. I talk to people at Trump rallies, like-minded and non-like-minded. What I'm finding is a lot of people have turned back to God and their faith in this moment in time. And I'm finding that a lot of people are very helpful, joyous, and full of love. And it's a great shift than where we were 3 years ago.
You just gave me the goosebumps, and I just tingled. What a wonderful statement you just made. No matter what evil throws at us, the children of God always rise up, always do what's right, always fix what's wrong, and always make tomorrow better than today. Always.
Right, and that's the moment we find ourselves in. And so, I often I feel like there's a lot of duality going on, and what I mean, there's a lot just across the board. You can see it. So, like right now, I'm sitting and I'm in a big design shopping center that's got Yankee Candle and Claire's and Nike and and Banana Republic and an Apple Store and all this. And so there's the corporate control still has a lot of the Sims or the NPCs or just I think a lot of people are robotic. And unfortunately, on one hand, people are still, the control mechanism through the 5G and the screens and all this still have everyone consuming, buying. And I think that there's going to be a reckoning in everyone's financial life, because it can't keep going on like this, especially with the downward pressure on the dollar and on finance. But people don't know how to break free from it. So there's a progression going on. I was speaking with a young lady last night at a gas station. I was asking if it was a good place to grab a bite to eat nearby.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I saw, when you look into someone's eyes, the eyes are the window to the soul. It's their eye gate. And I could see in her, a little bit of pain. I said, how's life going? And she was working at a gas station. She said, pretty tough. I have twins. It's very hard to survive. But yet she's out there working and getting by. And so we all have to, and at the same time, there's a decent wake up going on. But, most people are forced into the slave system because they have to. They're programmed from very young to the time they go into school.
Hey, Richard, let me, everything you're saying is spot on. Let me just, because our show is limited, I'm going to get some more information out of you. So I'm going to change topics and gears a little bit. It's going to be related. Fair enough?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. So my question is, and these are just some technology questions, because my show is about cars and technology. Have you noticed any of this so-called Tesla energy and changing of transmission lines for power lines? Any hubbub you see, or anything that you've noticed throughout the country?
So there's a huge infrastructure update going on with our power lines. Now, I'm a believer. Okay, so let me just take you into some of the conspiracy theory that I've delved into through the years.
But keep it light, though. Keep it on the lighter side, and kind of just give us a brief explanation of what it is, and slide right into what the meat of the topic is.
Okay. So across our country right now, they're building very, very tall, strong, galvanized steel electrical transformers.
Okay.
Now, everyone can recognize this. They travel through mountains, go in the country. Everyone's seen this. But now they're replacing it even where the regular telephone poles were placed before. Now they have these high tension transmission lines. That's what they're called.
Yep.
And what's going on is an upgrade. Then outside of every little town, even in some of these more suburban neighborhoods, they have huge transmission centers where they do the dumbing down or the re-electrifying or the regulation. Electricity is measured in pressure. If you talk to an electrician, an old school electrician, they used to teach electricity in pressure. A lot of people can relate to this.
Yeah,
water pressure,
voltage
air pressure.
Voltage is water pressure. Yep.
Right. And so, and everybody that's listening to this has been programmed to believe that power plants are where the power comes from. And I'm going to go light here for you, but I want to explain to your listeners that when you burn coal, the byproduct of coal is something called gypsum.
Yep.
And gypsum is what drywall is made. If you crack a piece of drywall open, it's gypsum. That's the byproduct of coal. So just think to yourself and say, why are they burning so much coal? Well, we do need a lot of drywall. And if you understand pressure and what it takes to maintain pressure, you would then have to believe that a windmill out in the middle of nowhere is creating pressure and it's carrying it to a city 50 miles away.
Yep.
I don't believe that to be the case. I believe we're witnessing Tesla 369 technology come back into play, but the masses are mostly asleep on this. So it just has to be rolled in a way that makes sense for everybody and can be taken at a pace that people can handle. I was just on the phone with a I don't want to say too much, but let's just say someone that knows a lot of things and is involved in a lot of things and knows a lot of people. And he's already has had his hands on technology. Like, for example, you might be able to have a phone soon that never has to be charged ever. It just works at a very fast rate. And we're also seeing a lot of infrastructure. I believe communication can come in a lot of different ways. And as we graduate from different levels of knowledge, we are going to watch some of this stuff roll into us, and it's all happening now. And let me just, for anyone listening that thinks, hey, this guy Richard's crazy, let me just cite President Trump just released a video 2 days ago talking about a world fair. He's calling it something else. But our history has been, this has happened, something like this has happened before.
Tartaria and the World Fairs had electricity that never could have been generated on site, and they lit up like unbelievable, and there was buildings over in Tartar, which is Tartaria. Oh, yeah. It's what our past is not what we know it as.
So you understand. And Trump is saying it's going to be America's 250-year anniversary, and he's talking about a world fair. And let me just say one more thing.
And then I'm going to ask you the lightning. Once you finish that sentence here, we're going to go to a lightning round where you have to answer yes or no, okay, to a question. Right, go ahead.
Very well. Sure. Oh, shoot, I lost my train of thought. Trump.
Well, let's go to the lightning round, and we can pick it back up. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question, and you have to say yes or no, but it can't be a belief system. It has to be, if it's not true, and you know it not to be true because you've seen and talked to people, then you can answer the question. But it can't be like, what religion are you? That's your belief, not something you discovered.
I'll do my best. Go ahead.
Okay, so here we go. Tesla technology, real or not?
100% real. I've seen it. I've been on it. It's 100% real.
Okay. Next question. Med beds, real or a pie in the sky?
Coming soon, I would say.
Yep, I agree. Q phones. They're clear phones that were supposedly all get. Supposedly people say we're all going to get one. That was, I think, what you were referencing there just a minute ago.
So I don't know it being called the Q phone, but multiple sources say they've already have it experienced coming soon.
And it's a quantum phone. Okay. Starlink technology with the satellites. Have you seen any direct application of it in your travels? Yes or no?
I own it. I use it. It's the best, fastest internet in the world.
Fabulous. Oh, and there's no throttling back. You get unlimited speeds. Is that correct?
I have a friend that used it. 10 phones, all 4K, all stream at the same time. Unbelievably fast. It's the future.
Okay. Next question. Have you ever met Lynn Wood?
No.
Have you ever met Donald Trump?
Donald Trump, videos of him talking to me at rallies, saying my name. You can read his list, but I've never been one-on-one with him in person.
Have you been to more than 2 of his rallies?
I've been to about 50 rallies.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Maybe more. I lost count.
Let me ask you this. When you went around to the hospitals, was there really makeshift morgues outside these hospitals full of supposed COVID people that didn't make it, or is that all is it hearsay?
Went to the refrigerator trucks, opened them up. The refrigeration units weren't running. It was all staged, no bodies.
Fair enough. Are Walmarts closing throughout the United States?
Not that I've seen personally. I've seen videos, but not that I've seen in my own. Walmarts are still very busy.
Yep. Yes, agreed. Have you seen any backlash from this Bud Light craziness throughout the country? And are people passionate about it and really not buying the beer?
Change is the only thing constant. People are resistant to it. The Bud Light move, along with North Face and everything else, the powers that be did short options, and they rolled out Pride. They made more money on it than ever. And the virtue signaling echo chambers of the conservatives are clueless. They think $17 billion is a lot of money to these companies. It's nothing. They'll be back on top doing just fine. They'll be profitable next quarter.
Here's a good question for you. When you were starting a couple of years ago, when you were outside that apartment, whose apartment was that? That thing was like $1 million place. Whose was that?
It was a hotel. It was the W Hotel.
It was super nice, and you were hanging out the window filming over there at the Rose Garden. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that was is that really the singular event that launched Richard Citizen to travel throughout the country, the patriot that you are, the passionate man that you are, the God-fearing man that you are, and record and date and really make history and record history? Is that what started you?
No, what started me was the hospitals. And And the Rose Garden was the shot that went around the world that saw in real time that things are fake, and that it really was one of the irrefutable proofs that I did, that because I got a lot of death threats when I was doing the hospitals, and they were saying, oh, Richard, they're not going to be in the ER, da da da. You don't know what you're talking about. But when I did the Rose Garden video, it was irrefutable. I showed CNN showing it was live. I panned to the Rose Garden, nobody was there. So and so that was one of the things. To me, that's not a very important video, but to everybody else, it really is. That's the one that went around the world.
That's the shot that was heard around the world, Richard. That was the thing that launched you. I remember. I think there was a football game or something on the TV. I don't know what it was, but you were running around, going out the window, filming everything. It was just a beautiful thing. It was great. Another question for you: when you go to these rallies. It doesn't have to be Trump. It could be Kerry Lake or any of them. Do you sense that there is an organized effort, maybe behind the scenes, of things that are starting to change and take place that the general public and me, myself, and maybe you aren't aware of that's taking place? Is there an agenda?
No.
Really?
Not in the least.
So the hopium is... What we can, there's a lot of people in this country that are hoping for one thing to take place. And I'm not even going to say it. And you probably know what I am saying and thinking. They want one person, and that's all they want. Is there a plan behind the scenes that's taking place that's going to give them their wish, or are we on another election cycle?
Yeah, the plan is written in the Bible, and for everybody that scrolls their phones, I would say, if you're not actively involved, Richard Citizen Journal is boots on the ground every day, moving across this country, activated. I'm looking for people that want to get activated. The longer people stay on the phone and don't do anything and don't figure out how to change the systems, and they believe elections are real, the longer these problems are going to last. So there's, as I say, there's a lot of good things going on. The people are doing fine. It's either people need to stop putting their hope in a man, turn back to God, and live their lives in a peaceful, happy way, and accept the system, or people need to get activated. There's nothing going on, but I'm tapped in, the echo chambers of the internet. You got to realize how strong AI is and has been for a very, very long time. You got to, if you want to believe in fairy tales, you might as well turn Disney back on.
Okay, so here's a question for you. When you're driving around the country, do you listen to the radio? And if you do, what kind of music do you listen to, Richard? What's your favorite?
I don't listen to that much music. I'm typically communicating and doing something with what's going on the ground. But when I do listen, I listen to K-Love. You can get that. There's great things like that. Like I'm telling you, I'm seeing technology coming out. We're in a renaissance. And so you have to realize what part of the Renaissance you want to be part of. So the Renaissance of K-Love, you can listen to great Christian music all across this country now. That's what I listen to when I listen to the radio. There's a Renaissance and a lot of things going on. But the people that are believing in behind the scenes and theater, it's theater. You can go watch a show. You can go see. Look, I think we're at the end here. I think one of the things that happens at the very end is people will spend their last dollar on entertainment and beer, and I think that's what we're watching. I think we're in for a pretty hard reset financially, and it's people like me, other people I know, and actual truthers and people out there making a difference and doing things that are going to be able to give people hope as we move through it. Because I don't think there's a government answer. I don't think there's a government solution. I don't trust any government website. I don't trust anybody that references a government website. Until I see some actual real proof, I don't buy into it. So it's we the people that to link arms, hold hands, and get through this. And so I listen to Christian music. I can't even really listen to regular rock and roll like I used to, or any music. I just have a real connection with God right now, and I think that's happening to a lot of people. And that's where I think we need. That's the type of music that I listen to anyway.
Would you say that for a good part of your journey, God's been your co-pilot?
I'm just now realizing that, but yes. So the answer is yes. But as I reflect back, it was God the whole time, because it doesn't make sense. This guy that doesn't have a job somehow can move around the country, stay at people's houses he doesn't know, get laundry done, do all the things that I need to do without it being God's hand. So 100% that, I don't really say it out loud, but largely I think I'm on a mission from God, like the Blues Brothers. You know what I mean?
Well, can we retrofit your car with a giant set of lights and a big megaphone so you can talk on the PA system while you're driving?
If I get back down to Florida, man, I'll definitely come by your shop, and we can do whatever you want to the car, man. I'm down. Whatever you want to fabricate up sounds good.
Sounds interesting. And let me ask you this final question, and then we're going to I'm going to have you tell me how people can get a hold of you. Where are you headed to next, Richard Citizen? And what are we going to see? What are we going to be treated to?
So where I'm headed to next is north from where I am now, which I'm in Colorado now. I have a few speaking engagements in California that eventually I'm going to speak to hundreds of patriots at. So I'm excited about that. That's going to be early July, and then from there I'm not exactly sure. I'm really trying to get planted somewhere. I want to be able to pay rent again at some place and have some place to call home. So that's kind of what I'm working on, and I'm just and I can feel God is getting ready to bless me because I've walked away from certain things like drinking alcohol. I quit that. I'm working on detox and some healing stuff and connecting higher. And then as the abundance comes in, I'm going to get planned to get healthier and lead people on a healing journey as well. And then from there, look, you and I both know Trump is going to start having these rallies, and it's going to be very interesting to see, are they bigger or smaller than 2020? What are these people saying? So I think I'll be back on the campaign trail a bit with Trump, and I'd like to even talk to Kennedy and see what he's doing, go to some of his rallies on the Democratic ticket, and just follow these events as they unfold. And I've just been guided, so I just trust in God, and he's going to lead me to the next thing that I need to be doing. And if people want to get a hold of me, I'm Richard Citizen Journalist on Telegram, and I give out my phone number, so it's not a big deal. I'll just give it to you. It's 240-308-2446. If anyone listening wants to help fund the things that I'm doing, which is real time on the boots on the ground, they can shoot me a text message, give me a call, and I can tell them how they can give them my links to. I have a Venmo and a Cash App account.
Unbelievable that you're doing this out of love of country, love of God, and love of people. I would say it's the love of those three things that are the driving force behind what makes Richard Citizen. Your whole angle is unique. Your perspective is unique. Your filming style is unique and wonderful. And I will tell you, you have a lot of followers on Telegram. You have a lot of people that respect you. And your word is, when you film things, it's truthful. And you're giving a true perspective, not a fabricated one to try to just get views or anything like that. You're a true, honest man who's delivering the news across the world, or news across the country, from a grassroots movement in politics, and not only politics, but the government and you name it. It's all tied together through money. Boy.
Yeah, brother. I still got to buy gas and food, and that's okay. I'm not a greedy person. I've already lived that part of my life where I have made really good money in sales, and I've had nice cars and even nice housing. And that's not really, I want simple, and I want to get to the truth, and I have no agenda. And if this message happens to reach the influencers out there, I think the sooner we all start working together and getting on the same page, and not going to little echo chambers of whatever the stories are, whether someone says the dollar's crashing or reevaluation is coming or the market's going to crash, whatever happens is going to happen. None of us know, but the sooner we link our arms and we start working together, the sooner we're going to pull ourselves out of this mess. And I think we all have to be on a mission to be doing something real in the real world beyond scrolling on your phone. Be involved in something for this movement to save our country, to save the world, because otherwise there's plenty of evidence to point in the opposite direction that things aren't going so well. I want to see some arrests, but I think we as the people need to come together in love and humanity to help one another. And I just really think that's what it boils down to. Wow.
The great words. And this show that you've been on is recorded, and I believe you can catch it on YouTube if you type in WSTU Crown Car Care. And for this weekend, you can have access to download it, put it on your whatever. It's a great interview. Richard Citizen, I smell that you've done this before, because you sound like a true pro who knows what he's talking about and is passionate about it. Just a joy to have you on this show, and good luck with everything. And we'll see if we can get hooked up with you and send you some cash so you can get some gas.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it. And brother, the sooner we put aside our judgments, and the sooner we connect to our heart, and it's very easy when you speak the truth and it comes from your heart, we're getting to a higher place, and a lot of us are seeing that. So it's not that I've trained in this or anything. It's just that, we all want to get at the truth. We all want to come from a place of love. And the sooner we do that, the sooner we're going to pull ourselves out of whatever individual mess. A lot of people are going through a lot. So prayers are going out. Love you guys. Yeah. And if you send me that link, I'll post it on my channel so people can hear. And thank you for giving me the time on your show today.
Richard Citizen, take care and have a blessed night. Bye-bye. Bye.
You too, brother. Yeah.
And we're back, and here's Todd.
You have to come up with some funny, like lead-in music. You had with
Well, yeah.
with leadership in business. You
Yes.
had a whole like arsenal repertoire
Yes,
of
yes.
Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Yes.
Here's Johnny. Well,
Right.
what are we gonna do with the car thing?
We'll do it. I'll have everything
You
ready
know what I
for
mean?
you
You had
next
all
week.
kinds of things, gimmicks.
Today was bumper crop of talking, though. We didn't have time for gimmicks.
Yes, we didn't have any time for gimmicks, but
Yeah.
we will.
Yes. Yes.
Hijinks and tomfoolery.
Yes.
That's
And
what
we
they
had a
call it.
caller.
We had a
and-
caller that asked a question. I'm going to get to this here.
Right.
24,000 miles, Ford Edge, 2018. And the question is it worth it to buy an extended warranty?
Yes.
And that is the $1 million question,
Yeah.
but I will tell it to you this way. If you're asking about it and you think that a $2,500 AC repair bill is a lot of money, then buy it.
All right.